Hey everyone, my name is Kim and this is my YouTube channel, my PhD, my prison history diploma. The goal of this channel is to bring education and awareness to people that have not ever been incarcerated, what it looks like for a formerly incarcerated person to gain their footing in society after they get released from incarceration. And with that being said, today's video is going to be about fear. I obviously want to tell you what that fear looked like during my incarceration, just a real quick story about that. And then the fear was actually way more on a grander scale upon my release. And so I want to describe what that looks like because I think it relates to today's society and fear. And so let's go ahead and get this started. With that being said, when I first came into my incarceration, I had 12 years. I was 65%, and I walked into that prison 105 pounds, soaking wet, and didn't look rough around the edges, I guess you would say. Didn't look like I was on the streets, and which I wasn't, but you know, I mean, I didn't come from a very rough background as far as like, you know, gangster or whatever. So I went in there with a lot of fear. I remember looking around and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get my butt kicked 1,000 times over. And so fear was definitely prevalent during my incarceration. Now, with that being said, I had to face my fears. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna try to look tough. Imagine me trying to look tough, you know, but shoulders back, mean mug, you know, whatever it took, I was gonna try to have that look. So hopefully nobody will mess with me. Well, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what background you have. It is a society based off of fear. There is a lot of bullying that goes on in there. We call it in incarceration trying me. A lot of people try people just to see how they can push them. So I was in there for probably like 2 or 3 weeks already, and we have once a month where gain time sheets at the end of the month are passed out. And what gain time sheets are, for those of you that don't know that terminology, they're your good time that you get knocked off your sentence, right? So on the gain time sheet, it has how many days you got off your sentence, and then it shows the date that you're going to be getting out, you know, so that way you know that you're working towards this date. So it was about, like I said, 3 weeks into my incarceration. I was very green, meaning I've never been into a physical altercation with anybody. So it was a little scary. But somebody's gain time sheet, so they were passing out mail, and gain time sheets get passed out during mail call. And somebody's gain time sheet was actually on the floor. So me being green, I didn't know, like, don't touch anybody's gain time sheet. Nobody ever told me that rule. So I picked up this gain time sheet off the floor, and I read the name on there. I didn't even see the date. I didn't even know where to look for the date my first few months. I mean, I couldn't even find my own date on there. It was just a bunch of numbers. And I had the Buck Rogers date, so did I really care? Probably not. But anyway, so I was looking, I saw the name, and I yelled out the person's name, and I'm like, here's your gain time sheet. And I handed it to the person, and I walked away, and she was talking about how she should have whooped my butt. And I remember thinking, well, that's not very nice, because I mean, I just gave her gain time sheet back. But she kept talking smack and talking smack, and it was in front of an audience, of course. I mean, it's a dormitory. There was probably about 200 women in that dormitory. And she just kept telling everybody she should have whooped my ass and whooped my ass. And I remember I sat down on my locker and I thought, I'm so scared right now. I am so scared. And I remember thinking, well, I have 2 choices, right? So I'm on my locker and I'm trying to make a decision on what is my best choice. My best, you know, I could have ignored the person and then been bullied, for the rest of my time there, which was a long time, or I could unfortunately step up to plate and face that fear and gain my footing on the food chain, because it's a definitely eat or get eaten type of environment. And I don't mean that sexually, but you know, you either eat or you get eaten. And I thought to myself, I'm new here. I'm 105 pounds soaking wet. I already got called Baywatch by somebody, and I don't know if that was a compliment or not, but you know what I mean, like I was scared. I was scared, and I didn't want to be bullied my whole incarceration. So I faced my fear. And unfortunately, fear is a big ruler in there. The correctional officers that got, I wouldn't say the most respect, because I think respect comes from leaders that lead people, and people follow because they want to, not because they have to. But, you know, the correctional officers that led with an iron fist that we feared, were because they either physically put their hands on incarcerated people, or they stuffed and cuffed them for no reason and got away with it. You know, those correctional officers definitely ruled with fear. And, you know, they were the ones that the incarcerated people would sit down and shut up, typically too. So fear was a big emotion felt during my incarceration. So I remember I had to face this girl and take care of business, because if I didn't fist fight, I was gonna be bullied for the rest of my incarceration. So I felt like I was given no choice. So as she's talking smack, I did walk up to her, I grabbed her by the back of the head, and I just started hitting her. And at first I thought, oh my God, I'm about to get my beep kicked. But then that did not happen. I was surprised myself that I was actually getting the licks in, and she wasn't getting much of hits back on me. And then I started thinking, holy crud, I hope I'm not going to hurt this person. I literally remember thinking that. But you know, you're in the moment and you can't stop because everybody's watching. So I finally heard the guard get on the radio and call for backup, and 10 COs came in there, split us up, cuffed and stuffed us, and got shipped off to, you know, solitary confinement, the SHU, whatever you want to call it, jail. They call it jail in prison. And I had to face that fear at least, I don't know, 7 to 10 more times. And 90% of the time, the people were bigger than me and scarier, but it's so hard to explain, but what a person like me, that was green, I didn't have a very hard look, and I was, like I said, 105 pounds soaking wet. I had no choice but to face it and rise. Face everything and rise, you know, and I remember, so I want to relate this to when I got out of my incarceration. So when I got out of my incarceration, there was an abundance of fear. Technology was different, you know, because I went in 96. When I got out, I didn't even know how to order a plane ticket to come back to where home was. I didn't know how to do it. You had to use a computer. I didn't know how to drive. I didn't know how to parallel park. I didn't know how to do anything. And there was just so much fear. I remember going to a grocery store and just feared, like, what do I get? You know, because I had so many choices and it was just so scary. Directions while I'm driving, that was so scary to me. Driving on the freeway, holy cannolis, Batman, that was just so scary. And I just remember everything was just like, every day I woke up with this impending fear, like, oh my gosh, am I gonna make it? Can I do this? And then something bigger inside me would rise up and say, girl, get up. You can do this. And so I faced everything and rose up. And I could have let fear debilitate me and stop me from doing a whole lot of stuff that I've been so blessed to be able to have done. I was told I couldn't vote. I can vote now. Fear told me, hey, don't go even try to vote. And I registered to vote, and I've got my voter's registration card. That to me is freedom, being able to vote, by the way. I do have this tattooed on my body. Love it. But fear is a very overwhelming emotion. Fear can keep people from doing things that they probably are great at. They just don't know it yet. I had no idea that I was going to be able to figure out certain things in the tech field. I was scared to death of computers. I mean, the internet just absolutely baffled me. And I'll be honest with y'all, I was absolutely surprised that y'all are gonna laugh, that porn was free. I couldn't even believe it. But that whole internet thing was just a big, huge, wide world. And I didn't understand. And because I didn't understand, it brought me a lot of fear. But thank God for YouTube, because YouTube is one of the best universities out there because it's free. So if you don't know how to do something and you're scared to do it, YouTube it. It's free. But yeah, I mean, society doesn't understand that when a formerly incarcerated person gets out of incarceration, especially with the time that I did, and there's many people that were incarcerated. I had a girlfriend that did 23 years. I got to hug her in Dallas, the freedom hug. Love you, girl. Fear is something that's fierce. Fear is something that can stop somebody from living life. And the reason why I'm doing this video on fear today is because I actually just recently had COVID. I tested negative today, hallelujah. But I noticed some people had some fear when I tested positive from COVID. And, it kept me in bed for a little bit, but it didn't take me out. And I understand that COVID has taken lives. I get that. But I wanted to make this video because I think it's so important to know, for people that have never been incarcerated, the biggest ruling factor in incarceration was fear. So when I had people react in fear, I thought to myself, oh man, I wish they could see the way I see things, because fear is a way to rule people and control people. And I think that fear should be something confronted in today's society. And if you have a friend that has COVID, can you just bring them food and tell them, I'm sorry you're sick, wear a mask. But, please don't make them feel bad if they're sick. But, today I still have fears. I can't sit here and pretend that every day I'm, hunky-dory and I can do this. It's not like that every day. But I will tell you that some days, even though it feels like I'm in quicksand and I'm scared to death of what's going on around me, I still rise up and I take the walk towards the fear. And what I mean by that is I walk through it. And 98.8% of the time, it comes out better than I ever expected. If I had let fear rule me, I would have never moved to Mexico and embraced that lifestyle. I packed me and my dog up and we lived in Mexico for almost 2 years. And I had so many people try to bring fear to the table of why I shouldn't move to Mexico. And none of those things that they told me would happen to me came true. As a matter of fact, it was quite the opposite. And I'm excited for the day that I go back to Mexico and to get to live my life in a different area of Mexico. It's a beautiful country. But again, fear could have stopped me from living that best life. So if you're in fear today and you want to try something new, start off small. Start off with, if you're scared to record a video and send it to your friends because you don't look good on camera, face it, record a video, say hi to everybody. If you're scared to try something new, try a new food, just give yourself that chance to walk through the small fears first and then conquer the bigger ones. You would be surprised at what you can do. Don't let fear take you out, man. we're in this game of life. Enjoy it. Walk through the fear and tell life, I've got this. It's going to be okay. Because at the end of the day, fear is just a feeling. It's just a feeling. And, you know, I mean, I'm not saying I can go climb Mount Everest. I'm scared to death to climb mountains. But, you know, if I wanted to conquer that fear, I would start off small. There's little rock places, climbing places here where I live, you know, but don't let yourself be held back because you fear something. You know, I know people that fear leaving relationships that are not healthy. Face your fears and rise up. And thank you so much for being here. If you like the content, please subscribe. Put a comment down below if you faced a fear in your life. And by all means, don't let fear stop you. And for those that have ever been incarcerated, let me know via comment how you faced your fears. And if you've never been incarcerated and you have a fear today, you know, drop a comment below. What does that fear look like? Or how did you actually conquer that fear? That's what I really want to hear about. I love all of y'all. Thank you so much for being here, and have a great day. Make today a great day. Be brave. It's fun. Once you figure it out, just put that armor on and face your fears. The worst thing that's going to happen is you may not conquer it today, but give it another shot tomorrow. Thanks.